The Parliament of Catalonia is the unicameral legislature of the Autonomous Community of Catalonia, Spain. It is formed by 135 deputies, who are elected every 4 years or after extraordinary dissolution, chosen by universal suffrage in lists with 4 constituencies, corresponding to the Catalan provinces. The Parliament building is located in Ciutat de la Parc, Barcelona. The first representative and legislative bodies in Catalonia were the Counts Court but progressively became subsumed into the Court of the Counts of Barcelona. The first Catalan legal code, the Usages de Barcelona, was promulgated by Count Ramon Berenguer I based on the decisions of these assemblies. Although the Counts of Barcelona had greatly extended the territory under their control, their financial and military power was quite limited, due to the impact of the feudal revolution during the regency of Countess Ermesinde of Carcassonne, and was endowed with formal procedures, effectively written constitutions, by King Peter III of Aragon in 1283, making this institution the policemaking and legislative body of the Principality of Catalonia. The Corts Catalanes were composed of 3 estates or at their own initiative. The Catalan courts, as well as the other institutions of the Principality and the administrative use of Catalan language, were abolished by the Nueva Planta decrees in 1716 after the House of Bourbon, supported by the Crown of Castile, defeated the Habsburg pretender to throne, which was backed by the remnants of the Crown of Aragon in the War of the Spanish Succession. There were attempts from late 19th century to restore an autonomous system of representation for Catalonia. The Manresa Bases was an institution composed by the provincial councils of Barcelona, Girona, Lleida and Tarragona, which included a General Assembly made up by representatives from the 4 provinces, but lacking legislative powers. In 1919, the Commonwealth prepared a project of Statute of Autonomy for Catalonia in which included a bicameral parliament. However, the law wasn't implemented. The Assembly and the Commonwealth itself were disbanded and outlawed by Miguel Primo de Rivera's dictatorship in 1925, following a brief proclamation of the Catalan Republic on 14 April 1931 and the provisional establishment of the Generalitat as a Catalan government within the new Spanish Republic. The first Statute of Autonomy of Catalonia was approved by the Spanish Parliament in September 1932, recognizing Catalan self-government and establishing a separate Parliament of Catalonia as the legislative branch of the Generalitat, being elected on 20 November 1932. This first legislature was controlled by the Republican left of Catalonia, which won the absolute majority of seats, while the conservative Regionalist League, almost hegemonic in Catalonia during the reign of Alfonso XIII, reached the second place but far from the Republican left. Luis Companys was appointed the first president of the parliament. The parliament appointed the ERC leader, Francesc Macià, as president of the Generalitat and, right after the election, the institution began to pass a progressive legislation in different areas, such as health, culture and civil law, but the institution was suspended between 1934 and 1936 when the government of Catalonia attempted to create a Catalan state after, among other reasons, a bill to change the taxing of farmers was rejected by the Constitutional Court. The unilateral declaration of sovereignty lasted 10 hours. The parliament and the government were restored in February 1936 after the victory of Popular Front in the Spanish election, and abolished by Generalissimo Francisco Franco at the beginning of the occupation of Catalonia. During the Spanish Civil War, the Parliament of Catalonia, like the rest of the institutions of the Generalitat, went to exile in 1939. After the death of Franco in 1975 and during the Spanish transition to democracy, the Generalitat came back from exile in 1977. In 1979, the new Statute of Autonomy of Catalonia recognized the restoration of the parliament. The first legislature of the current Parliament of Catalonia was elected on 20 March 1980. 48 years after the first election in 1932, Convergencia I Unió, a centre-right Catalan nationalist electoral coalition, won the plurality of seats, reaching 48 of 135 seats, and thus giving the presidency of the Generalitat to its leader Jordi Pujol, a position he would hold until 2003. That began a period of hegemony of CIU. which won the election of 1984 with an absolute majority. The definition and functions of the Parliament of Catalonia are defined by the Title II. Chapter 1 of the Statute of Autonomy. According to the statute, the Parliament, Facade of the Palace of Parliament, Session Chamber of the Palace of Parliament, Catalan ex-President Carles Puigdemont gives a speech at the Parliament of Catalonia on 10 October 2017. Coordinates 41 degrees 23 minutes 17 seconds north, 2 degrees 11 minutes 20 seconds east, 41.38806 degrees north, 2